Good afternoon, everyone. Ron Nicoletti along with Ashley Mayu. It is Twilight Friday, fast main track, Fern Turf course. Now you can see a little breezy conditions out there. We have, I don't know how many palm trees day it is. I can't count that fast. I took the picture down too much, but lots going on. Really nice weekend of racing besides today with a $300,000 jackpot guarantee tomorrow. Huge field, so 135 horses, I think, enter tomorrow.
Yeah, and we're fast and firm, so we're on the turf. I know other parts of the country have been getting pummeled with rain. We've actually been lucky. Usually this time of year, that's not the case.
Yeah, we've had maybe 4 or 5 days. I don't want to say it because I'm not going to put the hoodoo on us at all. I'm just going to say you're absolutely right. Fast and firm, $300,000 jackpot guarantee. And talking about the turf, that's where we're going to start the afternoon. Mile in the 16th on the turf, maiden claiming fillies, three-year-olds and up, $12,500. Got a couple of scratches of the 5 and the number 10, but still a big field to kick off our first of 2 pick 5s today, and you got an early pick 5 ticket.
Yeah, I had to branch out of my comfort zone today. A $48 ticket. You may ask why. Well, that's because 4/5 of the sequence are maiden races. So, those can be kind of a tricky thing to handicap. And after the pick 5, we had last week pretty big payouts across the board on Sunday, I should say. Maybe there'll be some upsets. So in this first leg, I just go too deep. I use the number 1, Ernestine and Hazel, as well as the runner on the outside, the 11, Blazing on Bayou. Race 2 and race 5, you can see I spread. In race 2, I use 3 runners in here. My top selection being the number 3, David's Rose, and my long shot in there being the 12, More Mucho. Race 3, just too deep in there. Really like the number 3, Po Boy, but I also decided to use the number 8, Whiskey on His Lips, trying the turf for the first time. Race 4, too deep in there. I think a lot of people are going to gravitate towards Nacho Papa. Actually use this one as my second choice. I go to the 3, Creative Cloud as my top pick. And then in race 5, I went with all 4 runners in there. I didn't have a strong opinion. It's $16,000 maiden claimers going 5 furlongs on the turf, so wanted some coverage.
Yeah, wide open race in there. I did go with one of the horses you used, the 12 horse in that particular 5th race. On top of my ticket, getting back to the first race this afternoon, the horse that's going to take all the money, and rightly so, is the number 1, Ernestine and Hazel, the Irish bred. And I think on the drop to the 12.5 level, a stretch out to the mile in the 16th, finished 4th against those 16 types for our leading trainer. This is the lowest level this horse has ever run.
Yeah, it's the lowest level. It's her 3rd start off the layoff, 3rd start since joining the barn of Safi Joseph Jr. And I think when you look at her performances, not that her efforts earlier this year in the Christophe Clement barn were poor, but at least 2 starts back she hit the board. Last time out she was just beaten by a length and a half. Maybe it's a little bit of concern that in her last 2 she's been favored, but the class drop as well as the extra ground today should help her.
Yeah, ridden by Edwin Gonzalez this afternoon for leading trainer Safi Joseph Jr. The number 11, Blazing on Bayou, wheels back after responding to a drop down in competition with that solid 2nd place finish. It was at the same level and distance. After these top 2, the way I see it, it's a pretty wide open affair.
Yeah, Blazing on Bayou, you're going off the most recent performance you're keen on that race on August 6th, and you can see we both use the 9 here in some aspect. That's our 10 Angels. I think the reason you may like the filly, and I've always kind of used this filly, maybe been disappointed, she has some early foot, so she's not going to be too far off the pace. She looks to be a big part of the pace scenario. I see that you use the 6th a little bit in here. It's probably going to be a long shot.
Yeah, Streaking Gray is dropping to this level and taking the blinkers off, but I want to just go back and show you this horse's start last time, and I'm going to put it as a race that maybe you just put a line through it. You're going to see this horse here just gets stuck in the gate, actually ends up, last coming out of the gate. We're just going to follow it into the first turn. And I just thought with a clean trip. And as I mentioned, after just wide open after the top, 1 or 2 great horses in here. And that horse tried throughout, didn't finish that well, but I just wanted to find a little bit of a long shot. So I think she's worth the flyer at a little bit of a price.
Yeah, you can see just having that outside draw when she entered that turn, she was still like 8 wide. So she definitely cost herself some ground in there. And I think it's worth noting she's raced in blinkers throughout her career, and you kind of look at her last 2. She hasn't had any gate speed, so now they're going to take them off. Maybe that's the right move here.
Yeah, and just looking for a price to be underneath the horses that are going to take all the money in there. Race 2 this afternoon is a 5.5 furlong. These are maiden claiming fillies, bottom level 2-year-olds, $12,500. Did have a couple of scratches in here. Matter of fact, just won a couple of moments ago with the number 5. Also scratched the number 4, Adios. What's that? I put my
Adios,
line.
Dixie.
Dixie. I put my line through it. Yeah, and I thought those were two logical contenders here. But I don't know if you did, had David's Rose on top of my ticket all along.
I did. I still have reservations about her because I vividly remember the race on July 30th. I know you weren't really sold on her either. I mean, she took some early money and then she went off at about 4-1 in there. It's just a huge class drop from her. It's her third career start. You have to think at some point, she's going to fire. I think this is the spot, and they have blinkers on today.
Yeah, she was wide last time out. Eddie Plessis Jr. is the trainer. He's about 19-20% with horses going from turf to dirt. And with the scratches of, I think, two major contenders, makes the number 3 David's Rose, I think, taking all the money when you look at the doubles very early on in there. I went with the number 8, well, I scratched into the number 8, Delray Dolly, who's plunging to the 12-5 level. For Mark Cassie, didn't show much in a 35 debut on the turf. He's doing well with his 2-year-olds. Maybe this is the spot after that bad performance. This one wakes up dirt and bottom level.
Yeah, it's bottom level, and I think that's key here. Maiden second time out. Mark Cassie's number, maybe not the strongest, it's 12%, but I think it was kind of something to notice last time out. Delray Dolly didn't really take respect in that field, and that's been really indicative so far. I mean, don't get me wrong, if Mark has 2 in there and one's 2-1 and one's 9-2, we've seen the 9-2 shot win, but in this case, this horse is 11-1 on the board, so it's going to be a different ball game for her today on a different surface.
And you got the number 7 Monetary Surprise on your ticket here, and so do I, and this one from, I think it's Sharon Boland's barn.
Yeah, and she won the stake here last weekend with the horse on the surface switch. I just looked at the works. There's only been 4 of them. Had a bullet as the first drill, and since then, has had 1 gate work. The breezes are respectable. I just thought the barn was kind of doing well as of recent, and you don't know in here. It's an interesting spot to be in, those 12-5 debuting.
Yeah, and it is the second leg of the early pick 5. So if you got some interest somewhere else, maybe you take it all in there. I know it costs a lot of money, but let's go to the third race. And today is a 5 furlong turf event. These are maiden claiming 2-year-olds. $35,000 had the scratch of the 9 and the 13. And you mentioned whiskey on his lips, and this one is dropping to the 35 level on the turf. Faced tougher on the dirt with sort of mixed results. He's a son of Looking at Lucky. But what I liked about this horse, he's a half to a horse called Mamba on 3, who's 3 for 4 here on the local turf.
Yeah, and actually going more to all the siblings, just 4 half siblings. They've all broken their maidens locally here at Gulfstream Park West, so interesting to follow the family. You already mentioned the trainer, Carlos David. We'll show a trainer stat here for Carlos. Was specifically looking at whiskey on his lips. The big question today, going to be first-time turf. So I just looked at the past 2 years, how Carlos David's done with maidens first-time turf. Limited sample here, but 4 for 19, 21%, 53% in the money with a $5.52 ROI. So really strong numbers. And this one hasn't made the lead in any of these starts so far, but has always been forwardly placed. So you have to think sprinting on the turf. Not a bad way to be in this race.
And you went with the number 3, who I have in second. We just got our exacta flip-flop here. Po Boy, who's the son of Mo Tom by Uncle Mo. So that's a lot to say in one thing. Mo Tom by Uncle Mo. But I think this one, I love Uncle Mo's on the turf. So.
I was going to say, do you like po' boy sandwiches as well? I'm really intrigued by this horse on pedigree. This is a half to Dan, the go-to man who's amassed $360,000 in purse earnings. He's a 7-time winner, just has a fabulous record, and actually is a stakes winner. And furthermore, one of the half siblings, Kelsey Danner, trains by the name of Lilacs, who's 2 for 6 in the career. Has actually been pretty promising, I think. Nice little horse to have. So to kind of see this one staying in the family here, I really like that. And Kelsey, I just feel like firsters, it says 13%, but she has him ready to roll. So I'm using Po' Boy on top, but I'm expecting at least this colt to hit the board.
Yeah, ridden by Angel Arroyo this afternoon for Kelsey. She's just having a fantastic summer meet, boy. She's, I think she's got 9 or 10 wins already at the meeting. Yeah. She's doing very well. The number 5 horse is where I went in third, and that's Neophyte, who's the son of Neolithic, debuting for Ronnie Spatz, leading Jock Edgar's eyes named to ride. I'm just looking at, the connections here. Ronnie Spatz, another guy that seems to have a win every day, and you get an Edgar's eyes, a little bit of guesswork there for me.
Yeah, win every day. 2 wins, I think, one day last weekend. I had a pretty good weekend. He's 10 wins now at the meet from 51 starts. It is a little guesswork. Edgar doesn't necessarily ride for him all the time, and maybe the works aren't the sharpest, but I think with the way the barn's going, this is one that you have to use somewhere maybe underneath.
And you did use the number 7 horse in here, Run, Leah, Run.
this is just a pay. I feel like a Ron Nicoletti right now. This is just a pace play for me. I mean, this is a speed. It has shown speed in the last two, so now it's going to get a different surface. Maybe that'll be a little bit of a wake-up call, but I just thought for minor shares at best, just knowing that this horse could probably be on front.
You can't go wrong by picking speed. I'm telling you, I've been doing it for years and years. It works out, especially it's always interesting to see how, after a few days off, how the turf course plays. We haven't had much rain over the last couple of days. We haven't been able to say that. So we're going to be nice and firm this afternoon. It's going to be interesting. Maybe it tilts towards speed this afternoon. So race number 4 today is a mile allowance optional claimer for state-bred 3-year-olds and up. The optional claiming tag is $12,500. And you hit it right on the head. And, you've got him flip-flop. And I think everybody's going to be zeroing in on the number 2, Nacho Papa, who has been claimed in 5 of his last 6 races.
Yeah, he's been claimed by Jorge Delgado multiple times, Carlos David. I feel like no one wants to give this horse up, but they keep on putting him for 12.5, and he's performing well. So you kind of look at his last couple starts. He's really hard to knock in any way, especially his last 4 efforts. His worst finish was 4 back when he finished 3rd. So I think he's tough in here. I think if you're going to go with anyone else, you're going to go to the horse to his outside.
Yeah, and Creative Cloud is hoping to get away. Broke slowly in its last race and finished 3rd for Safi. Edwin Gonzalez named to ride. Nacho Papa, as we mentioned, so popular. Sammy Camacho there. I think that these are my early pick 5 ticket. I just used these 2, Nacho Papa and Creative Cloud.
Yeah, the only thing I want to add about Creative Cloud, too, I thought the race 2 back going 7/8. I know it's shorter than today's mile distance, but I thought it was a good effort. He was 11-1 in that race. He only missed by a length and a half and was making ground up late. But you look at the top 2, my main man has had a pretty good year so far, but the second place finisher, Bailey, is his stablemate. So I think he's actually been facing tough competition. So I'm kind of curious to see how he kind of fares against the morning line favorite.
No, sorry, Ashley. We both have the number 4, Uno Tiger, on a ticket. This one certainly put it all together when Kathleen stretched him out from 6 to 8 furlongs. He's a recent maiden winner. He's getting Embassy El Jaramillo trying to defeat. These are seasoned veterans in here. But this horse and Kathleen, these are the type of horses with Kathleen, well, really, it's a little tough spot. They win.
Yeah, they can't leave Kathleen out. I did leave her out in the early pick 5, but you're spot on about saying when you see that she is a really impressive maiden winner, it's not surprising to see them follow up that effort with another big effort. I'm not saying I think Uno Tiger's going to win, but if this horse was second, I wouldn't be shocked by it. And you mentioned last time out, everything went together on the stretch out. It was the second start off a little bit of a layoff, and there's your number, 21% with winners last out.
Yeah, maybe it was just the idea that this horse wants to run that 1-turn mile, but Nacho Papa, certainly a lot of people are going to be thinking about singling that. With that said, we'll take a short break. When we come back, it will be the Rainbow 6, my ticket, and I think $300,000 jackpot guarantee. This thing builds so fast. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Gulfstream today on Twilight Friday. Ron and Ashley here, and race number 5 is where the Rainbow 6 is going to start. It's a 5-furlong turf sprint. Maiden claim is 3 and up. Wide open affair to kick off the Rainbow 6. Let's look at my ticket. I did go 3 deep in here. I got some interest in the number 12 horse in here, Koku, who I think could run well for Herman Walensky in there, but I went with Bulk. I don't know what happened to Bulk last time. I'm going to actually show you that replay. You're going to have to guess why this horse didn't run that well. And, Duop Don is a logical contender in here, but he has no turf breeding. I don't like dialed-ins that much on the turf. But with that said, I think they're the logical 3. Got coverage in race number 6 with the Trapezoid, Malibu Max, and didn't want want to leave Brasstown out. I think it's very formful in the middle of the Rainbow Six with, Kelsey, Saturday Night Girl and Kelsey Shot in her 7th. Royal Squeeze is going to be a big favorite with Vinnie Van Gogh, both of those 2 horses. And I got coverage the rest of the way. In race number 9, 7-5 with Discreet Tune, who's probably going to be somebody's single in there. I don't know if you singled in the late pick 5.
I did not. I did not single. I think we agree on a lot of races. The only race that we don't agree is race 7. I got a long shot, so we'll have to wait for that one.
I like that. I love long shots. Getting to this race here, I want to go back and show you Bulk. Now, Bulk was the big favorite last time, and we're just going to show you the start of this race. You're going to see the number 8 horse in here, and just gets bopped around, and a little bit. And I don't know if this was enough for this horse to run that badly. I mean, got knocked back to last, and then just didn't perform. And 2 starts back was very good. That was first off the claim by Bobby DeBona. I didn't know what to do with this horse. I mean, I can understand this horse coming back and winning again. I just couldn't figure out why this horse did not run after that. Maybe the jock thought that, the day was over. Let's save him for another day.
Yeah, it's tough because we've seen way more drastic things happen, and a horse still makes somewhat of a run, and this one kind of stopped. Now, the only excuse I can really come up with when you look at his race prior to that, he was just off the pace setter throughout, and this kind of took away his chance from there. I don't know. It still wasn't that drastic. I still think he's a horse that you have to use in here, and I have faith in using him on top because I think the rebound's possible. But obviously the barn was probably disappointed with that effort. They do so well first off the claim.
He's been working well since that performance. So just like, one of those days something happened. I got a little bit of a long shot in here. I'm glad you used this one on your early pick 5 ticket. And that is the number 12. And I think it's Koku, who was third against $15,000 maidens in his only previous turf sprint. Goes back to the grass, takes the blinkers off this afternoon, failed to find the winner's circle in the trio sprints on the main track. I'm keen off that performance and the recent bullet work in 34-2. Maybe this one comes back, and it's a son of Kozan, and I'm going to key off that performance at 50,000. This is 16, and there is no standouts in here.
There's no standouts at all, and I'm doing the same thing. I just have faith in one race out of 6 in his career, but it was a huge effort. I mean, he was only beaten by 2 1/4. He wasn't really well respected. I think when you look at his next start, they saw a good performance. They said, well, we'll just bump him up to maiden special weight level. They switched surfaces, and he faced a nice winner, Del Griffith, who came from, I don't even know where, the popcorn stand in that race to get the win. But since then, he hasn't taken to the dirt. So I like that they're going to say, hey, let's get him back on the turf. He's only had 1 try. I like the workout. The only thing I wonder about a little bit is you look at his works. He seems to be a fast workhorse in the morning, and maybe that hasn't really transpired to the afternoon. So we'll see. Let's see if the surface is enough.
We have the same super just boxed around. In second, you have Cheval d'Or, who I think can run well in this spot.
I think this one can certainly run well. I think when you look at some of the efforts last time out, it was at the 5 furlong distance. It was at the 12.5 level. I don't think there's a huge difference there. Finished third. It was a big field to 12, so I liked that effort, and I certainly liked that effort was way better than what we saw 2 back in a race that was scheduled for the turf and moved to the dirt. This horse doesn't want to be on the dirt, so the turf efforts are decent enough.
Well, both of you and I have the 10 and third, who's the morning long favorite in here. Duo Up Done has given the turf a try. Responded to the latest drop of competition with that second place finish against 20 maidens, going 6 furlongs in the dirt. I'm not enamored with the turf breeding in here, so I mean, I can understand, making it the morning long favorite off that performance in a race that, elicits more questions than answers. But what was your reason to put him a little further down?
I put him further down, similar lines. You don't see it pedigree-wise, but I look at his last 3 efforts. He's hit the board in all of them, and especially at 5.5, 6 furlongs on the dirt, he's been right there, second in both. So I don't know if the surface is really going to make the difference. I'll probably say that, and it'll make the difference today. But I just see a horse that last time out, probably his best dirt race. He missed by 3/4 of a length. Why not give him a shot again? Maybe there wasn't the spot for it, so I use him lower.
This horse cannot lose today.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to go run to the windows after this.
This horse cannot lose. We spent that much time not liking him. Dennis, our cameraman, will be running to the window. He'll be knocking you over to get to bet on this horse here. The race number 6, a mild starter optional claimant, 4-year-old starter for 8 or less, or the optional claimant tag of 16,000. I mean, you went with the number 2 horse in here. I like this Causalistic. I'm going to turn it over to you.
I had to switch it up. Trapezoid, I'll get on my reasons why I really like Trapezoid and also maybe don't like Trapezoid as much. I think looking at Causalistic last time out was 4th, beaten by 2.5. It was a decent effort. It was the second off the claim, and after the second after having some time off. They claimed this one back in April. Didn't get this one back to the races till late June. I just think this horse can show more. He's shown more here locally in the past, and he loves the distance. He's 3 for 6 at that 1 turn mile.
Yeah, the number, I mean, I got to go back and look because I didn't put this one on my ticket for Diane Marici. I know you have a lot of success with her. The number 4, Trapezoid, is making his first start since winning 3 or 4 races at the distance, which includes that victory at this level back on May 22nd. Jorge Delgado has his hard-knocking 6-year-old training strongly. His career start, number 43.
Career start number 43, but he's won 9 times in his career, 5 of them locally over the dirt here at Gulfstream Park. You mentioned 3 for his last 4. They've resulted in wins. He's been very competitive, big buyer numbers. My only reservation that I really have, he's had some time off, which I think he deserved the break, obviously. He's been on kind of a streak. The barn with this sort of 2 to 6 month layoff, it's not their strong suit. They're 10%, and we're used to percentages in the 20%. So I will say this. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to get you a stat. I want to see how Jorge does with horses that won last time out off that sort of a layoff.
And number 7, Malibu Max, who you have a little further down than I do, is in for the $16,000 tag in the starter optional claimant drops. Responded last time to the addition of blinkers with that third-place finish against 25 optional claimers. He's the senior citizen in the group, 8-year-old elder statesman. So he's always there. He seems to be always there at the wire against this level of competition.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. I think 2 starts back, I was a little disappointed in his effort. He had kind of fared well over the mud or an off track before that. It was his first off the board finish over the wet going. Last time out, it was a good effort. Now he's getting back to the mile. He's another one he's proven at the distance.
And I mentioned with Brasstown, I just couldn't leave this one off my Rainbow Six ticket. Trying to make it 2 in a row after dueling throughout. He was pretty good to hold on gamely as the favorite to win for Antonio Edgard going for 2 in a row.
It's honestly a tough race round. I think you can make cases, I use a horse that you didn't use, you use a horse that I didn't use. There's a lot of directions to go. I think a lot of eyes will be on Trapezoid, but I'm going to try to beat him.
Let's go to race number 7 today, about 7.5 furlongs on the turf. These are maiden special weight filly 2-year-olds. Great little race here to kick off the late pick 4.
Yeah, looking at the sequence, not too expensive of a ticket today, $24. I do go 3 deep here in the opener. My long shot and top pick in here, 12-1 on the morning line. That's the number 4, Barbara. I just love that name. Race 8, I'll use 2 runners in here. Number 7, Vinny Van Gogh. I think he's my best bet on the day. I think he's pretty tough. His main competition comes directly to his outside in the number 8, Royal Squeeze. Race 9, just 2 deep in there. I think Discreet Tune is definitely the horse to beat, but I had to use someone else. I didn't have that much faith. I don't have that great of luck singling either. So then to wrap things up, there's enough room in there. I go 4 deep in the nightcap. I thought there were different directions to go in here. Silver Package actually is not my top pick in there. This is 3-1 on the morning line. I go to some more horses that offer more value, I think.
Yeah, it's a wide open 10th race in here. Well, Ashley, tell me about Barbara.
Barbara. I actually believe I bet Barbara on debut last time out, looking at that race at July 17th here at Gulfstream Park. It was made in special weight competition. I thought it was an okay 5th, only missed by 3.5 lengths. I think when you look at the other horses in there, Royal Rocker has been a little disappointing since that effort. A Mark Cassie runner up her sleeve is entered tomorrow, I believe, in the Proud Man in the stakes race on the card. Castle Warren, they're going to face again. Just thought the trip was not ideal for the filly. I think she kind of lost a little ground in there, didn't seem to get in a good position throughout. Not this time. What a great sire. He's been doing really great things from, his runners. So just going off an improvement second time out, and Sammy Camacho's back in the irons.
Well, you knew I was going to go with the number 8 Saturday Night Girl here. Is this $650,000 daughter of Warfront, and that's the key. My favorite sire, recent sire is Warfront, stretching out around 2 turns, chased the pace and finished a useful 4th, going 5 furlongs for Tommy Proctor. Embassy El Jaramillo named. It's a Wrigley bred freshman. I think that 5 furlong race is going to set this horse up perfectly for 2 turns.
I agree, and I think we've seen a lot of these Glen Hill farms, the 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds. They typically want to go longer. Sometimes the option at first try is to go shorter. Has a nice billet drill coming into this race. The other thing, I had to shy away from this. Tom Proctor, maiden second time out, is always my trainer stat, but he does great work. He's 18% from a limited sample there of 33.
Well, the number 9, Kelsey Shot, had a big shot while setting the pace before. I want to go back and show you this horse's last race. We're going to pick it up, at the 3:16 pole home. Kelsey Shot is just cruising here. And all of a sudden, we say, maybe the 5 change plans is going to get this horse. And, she's game, she's fighting back. And all of a sudden, you're going to see she gets attacked on both sides. This horse, the 7 horse, slips through on the inside and gets her. So she ends up finishing 4th when I thought she might win that race.
I know. You got to look at the line there, too. But she only missed by half a length, and she certainly, her debut, she was beaten by 25 lengths. Was second, but beaten by 25. It was over the slop. So now they get her on the turf. I thought it was a huge performance overall. I mean, you get beat by so little in the end. But another pricey purchase, $375,000. This filly was back in March.
The number 7 horse in here I got some interest in, and it's Castleborn. It was solid in defeat. She stretched out from the 5 to the 7.5 furlongs, and she finished that inside rallying second for owner-trainer Yvonne Belsour. Has Marcos Meneses atop this daughter of Vancouver. This horse ran okay last time out.
She did, and I felt like if I used Barbara, I had to use Castleborn, even though I used her lower because Castleborn finished second in that race. There's, nothing really against her. She was 4-1. The winner was a big upset in there, paid $40-some to win. So she deserves a shot. She certainly liked extra ground. 5 furlongs wasn't her game either.
Let's go to race 8 today, and this one is a 6 furlong allowance optional claimer, state bred, 3 and up. Optional claiming price $25,000. Do you go with Royal Squeeze or do you go with Vinny Van Gogh, who looks so tough in here? Going to try and make it 2 in a row. Responded in that first race after the claim by Safi. Very good. The barn is solid with this horse. Looks tough.
Looks very tough. This is our, I guess, third favorite that we flip-flopped. We're battling all day long, Ron. Vinny Van Gogh has just been claimed a lot. He's done well. You look at his record the last couple years. I actually think 2021's actually been better for him so far. He's 4 for 6 in the money. He's an 8-time winner in his career. They've all been local here at Gulfstream Park, and 5 have been at the distance. So I absolutely love him here. I think he was entered last week, didn't make it in the race. So I think this is a good spot for him.
Well, Royal Squeeze, the 8-horse, a 4-time winner at the distance, turns back, duel for the lead, and finished third, beaten a length by who? The 6th race participant, Brasstown, going a mile last time out. So key off that race. If Brasstown wins another one, Marcial Lavero, Miguel Vasquez handling third back. Everything you said about Vinny Van Gogh is spot on. You cannot lead this horse off the ticket. A Royal Squeeze for all the reasons we just mentioned. And then I went to the number 5, Cajun Commander, who's a lightly raced son of Cajun Breeze, making his first start since showing promise. And it was those 2 well-spaced sprints last season. So looks like it's hard to get this one to the races. But when he does, he seems to run pretty well for, of course, our main man in here, Mike Yates.
I think that's the perfect way to say it. Is that it does seem that he needs some time or something in between his races, but he's at least been able to race well off the layoff. We saw that between his debut in September of 2020 and then last time out in February. So I'm not necessarily worried about the layoff. Perhaps he seems to be training well. I'm just worried that when you look at the other resumes for the other 2 we mentioned, they're pretty stacked.
And the number 1 Tiger you have in third.
Tiger, I think, is a sleeper. Now, this is one that I think is going to need a race. I still used him in here. Going to get first-time Lasix today. Prior to that, though, a pretty nice record. I mean, kind of always runner-up, but 7 starts, just has that 1 win. 4 second-place finishes. Last time out was second in the Limehouse. Who was the winner? Oh, just drained the clock. Just one of the lower-level horses in the Safi Joseph Jr. barn, right?
Yeah, just so many great horses in that barn. Race number 9. 5 furlongs on the turf. Claim is 3-year-olds and 4 and up. Non-winners of 2, 12-5 down to $10,000. Just want to go back and show you Discreet Tunes last race. First, we're going to pick it up at the start. As happened so many times on the inside, just gets bopped around. It was a little awkward start in there, so tough. You could see all the horses coming over, but I just thought this horse ran exceptionally well. He closes to be second, and just after that break, having trouble at the start, I thought this horse ran exceptionally well.
Exceptionally well. He got beat by a horse that was 10-1 who wasn't really respected. And you can see these kind of 3 right now, including another price horse, just battled it out to the end. And he missed by a head. It was certainly a step up from his prior race, which wasn't really that shocking. It was a dirt race. He's only raced on the dirt 3 times in his career. So he's coming in here with a lot of confidence. I'll give him that.
Yeah, and I just thought that was a good performance. The number 7 horse in here, Try Me. Every time they enter horses in the race, I look back and Try Me's name is somehow always mentioned in that. And as he's stepping up to face winners, parlayed a stalking trip into that 16 maiden score over a pair of next out winners, as I mentioned. These last couple of races, days would have been handicapping. Horses that have come back have all been beaten by Try Me. It's Oscar Gonzalez, Emiciel Jaramillo. Thought I'd take a shot with this recent maiden winner.
When I started looking outside my top 2 in here, I was torn. I looked at Try Me. I didn't know what to do just because he is going to face winners for the first time. But you look at a lot of horses in here, they've had their fair share of chances to get win number 2. So maybe he's a little fresher than the others. I thought last time out it was a good performance from him because he wasn't on the lead like we've seen from him time and time again. He was a little further back ground-wise, and he had a nice late run and drew clear.
Well, the horse you have in second, Emmy Crack, the Chilean bred, is eligible certainly to show more after dueling for the lead, weakening to finish 4th behind Discreet Tune last time out. But if you look at his buyer figures, as I know you do, he seems to fit perfectly with this level of competition.
That's maybe what I looked at here. You know how much I love my buyer speed figures. I just thought last time out the buyer for him was a career bust. I know he finished 4th, beaten by 2.5. Who was second in there? Discreet Tune. And actually, if you go 4 starts back, a key race for me, at least it was back in April, he was second. He was well beaten by French Reed Reef, who came back to win next time out. But this one was able to turn the tables at the time on Discreet Tune, who was third in there. So you see these horses always face off. I can't really separate him, so I had to use him as well.
And going to race number 10, 6.5 furlongs, claimers, fillies, and mares, 3 and up, non-winners of 2, $6,250. Oh, just 12 in the field. We've had some huge fields over the last week or two here at Gulfstream Park, of course, which is always key in here. And I know you went 4 deep in here, and rightly so. We got our, horses flip-flopped again. Well, you get the 4 further down. Silver's Package, who's dropping to this level, cutting back to 6.5, prompted the pace and fade against 20 condition claimers, going a mile for Ralph. Nix, Edwin Gonzalez. Thought maybe that was the logical one. You went with Audrey.
You went with Audrey. I'm really counting on Oscar Gonzalez today. That's my theme today. I really need him to win about 2 races. I'll be happy. I thought the effort last time out, second off the layoff, finished third, beaten by a length and a quarter. Actually tried to circle the field. I tried to do this time and time again. It doesn't necessarily pan out, but I thought last time out, going 3/4, it worked out well. And I think today, it doesn't sound like a lot, but 6 to 6.5, I think that's going to help Audrey even more.
Yeah, I think those are the logical ones. Then you went to the outside with the number 12 horse in here, and that is Nanita. This one on the outside got a tough post, but certainly can win it.
Very tough post. And you look at the form that this filly was in 2020. I know she was 1 for 16. But she had 10 second and third place, finishes combined, right? She was second 6 times and third 4 times. She's always kind of been there. And what's the reason for that? She has speed. She can go to the front, and she tries to sustain her bid as long as she can. Now, in her 2 starts so far this year, the best she's done is she finished 5th last time out. I just think maybe with another start, she should perform better.
Well, we'll see if the 4 wins it, the 5 wins it, and there's a lot of different ways, and Ashley's got lots of coverage. One other horse I just want to touch on before we go to the lightning round was the number 8, Charismatica, who's now in the Juan River Rigo barn. This one drops, first starts in showing speed and fading against those 2 lifetime claimers. This barn, I've been watching their horses. They've been running well. He's 2 for 5, only 4, limited sampling with new additions to the shed row. But this barn seems to be placing their horses in a good spot. I don't know what it is on the morning line. I think 5 or 6 to 1. Maybe you throw this one somewhere on your ticket.
Yeah, she's 6 to 1. If you want to go with barn angles, they are 3 for 13 in terms of wins, so 23%. And they have a second place finish, and they're going to get a new horse. So you mentioned 2 for 5 with new acquisitions. Maybe something to look at.
Well, let's go to our lightning round this afternoon. And as we do each and every Friday, we check out the Jock and trainer standings. And first we'll go with the Jocks. And I think Edgar's got a 1-win lead on MSCL 97 to 96. This has been so great. And Miguel Vasquez doing great with 76 wins.
Yeah, the battle has been fierce the last couple weeks between Zayas and Jaramillo. Mentioned Vasquez doing a good meet so far, I should say having a good meet. The other things I want to point out, Edwin Gonzalez, we see that name. We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll see his name tomorrow in the form. And then we have a new face. Sammy Camacho gave Paco Lopez the boot on the count there.
And Edwin Gonzalez, we've been mentioning him since we've been doing this each and every week. And he's been off, I think, for 7 weeks, I believe. Now, he will be back, as you mentioned. He's got 59 wins. And let's go to that. Edwin Gonzalez returning from injury. And I just thought that was a good performance. Boy, he has been riding. Well, we get the trainers. I forgot. I do it every time. Safi's so far ahead that I'm so excited to get them going. But Safi's 58, but Carlos David has taken that second spot by himself.
Yeah, Carlos David's had a really great meet, a couple stakes winners as well. And then you see the other 3, they're kind of having the battle, that being Victor Barboza Jr., Jorge Delgado, and Antonio Sano. The race is on for second. We hate to say it, but that's how it is. Safi just has so many good horses in his barn. He's been placing them well, and he's got a 32 length lead, I guess, if you want to call it that.
I got to put a rubber band on and snap my rubber band after the train to remember the trainers every week. You could see why I'm forgetting Sappy is so far in the front, but everybody else having really nice summer campaigns. Now we'll get to Edwin Gonzalez, who's coming back from returns from injury. And boy, he was the big surprise of the spring-summer meet when he came down here for the first time and just ran exceptionally well.
Yeah, he moved his tack from up north, and you don't know how these riders are going to adjust, how they're going to get mounts, and he hustles and he rides very well and was so competitive. Unfortunately, was injured, but he's going to be back in action tomorrow, and he's got a lot of mounts, I believe.
Well, it is amazing. We've been showing the jockey standings for all summer long, and he stayed in third the whole time with 59 wins, and he's spotted these guys a bunch. It's going to be interesting to see how he plays out. Then there's a couple of somber notes here with the passing of D. Wayne Hughes, Spendthrift Farms, a giant in the game. Just what they did with Spendthrift Farms was amazing, and he's, if you listen, anybody that talks about Mr. Hughes says he was just a fantastic guy.
And he really revitalized Spendthrift and, to its former fame and really made it big. And the other thing is he was not afraid to take chances and do things different. He made the partnership with My Racehorse authentic, and that was a huge deal. So he's always been kind of an innovative figure that we unfortunately lost.
Yeah, and just a great guy. And, hard to replace those people in the game of horse racing. And then another somber note, number 4, praise the dam of Flatter, and congrats, Dies. But he had a good life, 27 years old.
Yeah, she had a really, really good life. 27, that's a ripe age. And I did some homework. We knew that she was the dam of Flatter, and congrats. But the very first foal that she produced back in '99 was Flatter. So I think that's kind of interesting to have that good success with your first foal.
Well, it's a lightning round for Friday afternoon. We'll be back throughout the afternoon, let you know what's going on around here, and we'll see you in a bit.